to the Beasts of the NFC's podcast. I am your host, Sean Gnitzcavich, with my co-host, Jeremy Goode. And Jeremy Goode, what a week 9 was, huh? So
Great
many,
week.
third straight week of close divisional football between the
Yeah.
Eagles and the Cowboys. The Commanders beat a bad Patriots team and looked pretty decent doing it. And I think I watched the most miserable Giants game to watch. I don't know. This season's had some tough ones, some real tough ones. But against a bad Raiders team, Daniel Jone is out for the season. Maybe we'll miss some of next season. Maybe we'll never start at quarterback for the New York Giants again. There's a lot that happened.
Maybe.
Some injuries, some just sad football. You want to, and also since the last time we recorded it, the Commanders have also given up on their season, essentially trading Chase Young for a third-round pick to the San Francisco 49ers and trading Montez Sweat to the Bears for Montez Sweat to the Bears for the third round and Chase Young to the Niners for a second round. And Montez Sweat just got extended by the Bears too. Congrats to him. I hope, good for you, Montez Sweat, got paid. And maybe you're in a better situation. You're in probably an equally bad situation. But
when he was asked when he was first with the Bears, I think his first interview, what his plans were, he wanted to wait it out. And then I think the Bears, like the organization, was like, "We just gave up a lot for you, bud. You're signing your contract, and $100 million will do it." But he certainly got paid. He's been a productive edge rusher, but it's just weird for a Bears team that doesn't seem like they have much going for them this year.
I just don't know really what their plan is, and
I don't either.
Get into that too because for some teams like my New York Football Giants, I feel like I'm just looking forward to April 25th, not because it's my birthday, but because that's the first day of the draft. And the last time the first day of the draft was on my birthday was here in Nashville, my first year living here, when we drafted Daniel Jones. Wow. Man, what a day. But we also drafted Dexter Lawrence that day, and also the criminal cornerback whose name is escaping me. What the heck? It doesn't matter. what would you? Oh man,
Darnay Holmes.
Not Darnay Holmes. No, we did draft him the next year. Actually, It was a fifth rounder. No, it's the first round pick that we traded up for out of Georgia, and he was.
DeAndre Baker.
DeAndre Baker. Yes, thank you. I knew he ignored number 27.
That's right.
But anyways, let's get into this this week. We'll start off the way the games are going, and we'll end with the finale, which was the best game of the week. Which
great game.
Unfortunately, I was watching most of the Giants game, but I'm not going to lie, I did switch it towards the end. It was just, I think this is the most checked out I've been in a Giants game in a long time. But that's what Tommy DeVito will do to you, and getting blown up by a bad Raiders team. But let's start with the Washington Commanders, who went to New England and beat the Patriots 20-17. This was a game where Sam Howell again had over 300 passing yards, 325. He had a nice touchdown to John Dotson, and then also threw a terrible interception targeting Jahan Dotson while he was essentially triple covered in the first half. Terry McLaurin again leads the receivers. Brian Robinson comes back to life and scores another touchdown, which I believe is his. I mean, he's got quite a few this year. And also their rookie second-round pick, Jartavius Martin, got his first interception. So, and it's getting more playing time, which is good to see for these Commanders. I will let you, Jeremy. Is there anything that you want to get into to start this game?
Great question, Sean.
Hey, that's fair.
Yes. No, I'll listen. I'll go into it. Good. How should I put this? It's a good win for Washington, who's trying to find some form of an identity, who hasn't played well all year, except against the Philadelphia Eagles, more or less. I think it's appropriate to say they've beaten a few teams, haven't been amazing beating those teams,
Yeah.
etc. The game's in New England too, I believe,
Hmm. It
and
was in New
that's
England. Yep.
interesting. The Boston fans, Foxborough. It's still not easy to go in there. I think um,
Yeah.
they threw the ball 45 times, which is a lot. You're going to get some good and some bad from Hal in those situations. They ran it 29 times, which is good. They kept the defense honest. So you have to run it that many times. I think I would have preferred them putting the ball on the ground a little more, running
Yeah.
than all those throws. Maybe the game's a little different. And I have the stats here. Now the Wi-Fi's out. But it looks like Hal did a good job distributing the ball
He
between
did.
Dotson, McLaurin. I think Byron Pringle was in there too, and someone else.
Yeah.
So,
So it was. I mean,
um,
nine
yeah,
different receivers. So he spread the ball around, and he Jahan Dotson, this is the second week in a row. He looks like he's emerging, becoming more of a favorite target, being that wide receiver two to Terry McLaurin that I feel like everybody was expecting this season. Four
yeah,
receptions, 69 yards, a touchdown. Like I said, he was targeted in the end zone on the interception, which seemed a little bit forced. Not gonna lie, probably the worst move by Sam Howell. But other than that, I was watching this game. It was a decent game. Like I said, I have a Patriots fan every week, so I think he was excited for the Patriots to be featured
there we go.
on the big TV for once. That way,
Wow.
I could really dig into this. I saw Emmanuel Forbes actually had some good pass breakups, but this is definitely the easiest receiving core he's had to go against with Demario Douglas
Without a
as
doubt.
yeah. Um, but I saw him getting a little, they're talking about his confidence. I saw him getting cocky, after a couple of pass deflections and whatnot. So,
Cornerbacks will do that too.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter how bad he's been all year. I mean, hey,
That's
dude, like
right.
you got to take your wins when you get them.
Jalen Mills for the Eagles really quickly was the king at it. He would get
Yeah,
torched for like 8 catches, 124 yards. The Eagles could be down 20 with 2 minutes left in the game. If he had one pass breakup at the end, he'll give you the little finger wag. It's like, Jalen, stop it. I mean, it's enough. But there's something cockiness, confidence about that position where anything productive out of Forbes and getting a win out of Roxborough, not that he was the sole reason, but it counts. Maybe it gives him a little push going forward on a rough year as a rookie.
yeah,
I've said before, Washington's a bad team. They still are. New England's
yeah,
also just an atrocious team who,
hmm
like Washington, it looks like plays up to competition in their division, like Miami, at least for the first half. Maybe like
yeah,
Buffalo too. We'll see with the Jets. So yeah, two bad teams going at it. The road team won, so you know it's always
yeah.
big. Important to note too when you could go on the road and win in the NFL. Um, yeah, I don't know who Washington plays next if they can build on it, but
It is the Seahawks. So they're going into the Seahawks, who just got destroyed by the Ravens,
right,
completely shut down.
yeah,
I think it was like that game was what 38
they've
to
been kind
3
of
or
shaky
something.
too, even before that Ravens game, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, well, they were 5-2. Now they're 5-3, um, tied with the Niners at the top of that division.
Yeah,
Uh, but so that game
Washington,
too, and
Washington will have to travel to Seattle, which
yeah,
that's utter death, to be honest.
yeah,
Um, but I guess the game plan. I don't know if you would agree.
hmm
Sam Howell can get to the 300 yards. It looks like passing. Not, I don't think every game. I definitely know not every game, but yeah, enough where continue to sling the ball a little with him. I would try to mix it up and run a little more and see where that gets you. But it
So
worked enough against New England, I guess.
yeah, and honestly, so the Seahawks do have a pretty decent pass defense. So I'm curious
Yes,
to see how he does in this upcoming game. I believe he broke the 200 completions mark this. Oh, maybe is it in his career? The fastest to get 200 out of like a Commanders player. Let me see.
yeah. Did he play a
Yeah.
few
Oh, yeah.
years
He has
last year?
235. So I guess I mean, his stats look really good for this season. Aside from some of those few, like he's projected to
Right.
have 4,700 passing yards with
That's very
26
good.
touchdowns, but 17 interceptions. Obviously, we know he was on
Those
the path to getting the most sacked. But I feel like also, I mean, this game I believe was one of his best in terms of sacks. Well, actually, no. The
No,
Eagles
it's the
I think were the
Eagles.
worst.
We didn't get to
I think didn't you have one sack against it, or was it
one
none?
very time. Yeah, one timely one at the end.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he was sacked 3 times, which I mean that's a normal amount. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
guess
serviceable.
they're
Yeah,
getting back to the mean there. And the thing is, the reason why he's able to spread the ball around and get 300 passing yards a game. First off, he's throwing it 45 times, but
yeah.
second off, he sits in the pocket. That's why he takes those sacks. He needs to be more aware and get it out. But like I said, he's going through his reads. He's finding
Yeah.
receivers all throughout the field.
I'll
Like
tell you what too. If nobody goes after him when he's standing there in the pocket, he's Tom
yeah,
Brady. I'm not even kidding.
he's good.
He is very comfortable just sitting in the pocket and then flinging it when he has to. I mean, credit to him. 47 yards, 4,700 yards is impressive, to say the least.
Yeah,
Interceptions. If you're throwing the ball 40, 45 times a game, that's also kind of on the enemy and with
yeah,
regard Rod too, because that's too many times to throw the football. Your quarterback should the most they should probably throw it in a game 35. You just can't.
yeah,
You got to keep too many. Too much throwing for these guys is a recipe for disaster. I don't care who the quarterback is. Um, but yeah, that's impressive. 26 throwing touchdowns to finish the year. That's okay.
projected. Yeah, and if
Projected
40.
wise,
Yeah,
17 interceptions. It's very high. I don't
yes.
know how many times does he put the ball on the ground and they lose it.
How
It
many
kind of
fumbles? Well, I know Brian Robinson had a bad fumble today,
yeah.
during the game. I don't know about Sam Howell's fumbles. I'd have to look into that. But on the other side of the ball, you trade away what was your probably one of your biggest strengths. You have two premier edge rushers in Chase Young and Montez Sweat.
Yeah,
And then this first game without them, they have 0 sacks. And they had Casey Tuill stepping in the starting one of the starting edge positions.
former
Um,
Eagle.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
guess it's weird for Washington too because like they were quite sellers at the deadline. Obviously, Sweat's a good player.
yeah.
I don't think Montez Sweat will ever be great, but he's a very good, nice defensive
Yeah.
end. I think Chase Young. I still think he has potential to be quote unquote great.
He had a
They
great
trade both.
season so
They
far
trade
with it.
both of them, both
Yeah.
very good defensive ends. And I guess it's
I
impressive
mean,
to come out
a
like that.
second and a third, I mean, good for you. But if you're a Washington fan, I'm sure, they definitely could have paid one of those two.
I would
And,
think so.
that
I
was their
would think that,
strength.
especially, yeah.
I
I
wouldn't have
don't
paid
know.
Deron Payne if I knew that this is the way it was going. Honestly, I think you let Deron Payne
Yeah,
walk
yeah.
and keep Jonathan Allen.
It's tough to find edge rushers, and they did a great job at drafting their defensive line
Yeah.
from the start. So you're just sort of rewarded by you get first dibs at getting a contract with them. I assume the money's going to be good. They're going to pay them,
Yeah.
and they get an easy extension. But weird, they're sellers at the deadline. They win. It definitely helps to play a team in New England who just has a dreadful, dreadful offense. But yeah, they needed to get to 20 points. I guess that was a number to win. They got
Yeah.
there. They got the win. So um, I think that that's going to change for other teams. But they did what they
I
had to
mean,
lose for this game.
yeah, I mean, we're going to get into it in the preview, but the Seahawks have proved to be a pretty beatable team.
Yes.
Especially they have been dominated too. But also, I think some of their strengths could play into some of Washington's weakness, aka their pass defense. So I'm curious to see how Emmanuel Forbes stacks up. I don't know if he's going to be covering Tyler Lockett or if he's going to be
Hmm.
giving DK. He's struggled with other bigger, more physical, old miss receivers.
Those are the toughest from what I've heard about cornerbacks who are
Mhm.
very good, who are stars. Like apparently, the bigger, more physical guys are the toughest to cover for them.
Oh yeah,
AKA the DK the DK Metcalfs. When it
and
comes
the
to
AJ
guys,
Brown. Yeah.
when it comes to like speed, like Justin Jefferson, they
Mhm.
don't have like great games necessarily, but they say like it's easier to cover that because they're just not physical freaks who can
Yeah.
like high point the ball, like get the 50-50s, I guess. So they feel comfortable enough about that. Yeah, we'll get into the Seattle game later, but I worry 3,000
I
miles away on
I
the
just
west
don't
coast
know.
is
I
gonna be
mean,
great.
I think I think it's fair to say if you're a Commanders fan, I mean, I like the way that Sam Howell's playing. It's essentially his rookie year, and he's had great performances.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
obviously he's had some bad ones, but like this is back-to-back weeks now with like over 300. Last week he almost had 400 passing yards. He's getting the ball around. Like that interception was terrible, awful. Like I don't know what he was doing there, especially because they were in the red zone, and like I said, triple coverage to John Dotson. I didn't really like study the all 22 there, so I didn't know if there was a better read.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, that definitely was not the read. I mean, when I saw that play, I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm playing quarterback from my couch, but I was saying,
Start
like,
out. Yeah,
I
listen.
see the double coverage with the third guy, Kyle Duggar, who comes in with the interception.
Yeah, he's a nice little player too.
I do like Kyle Duggar, yeah.
He probably wants that back. I think if you're Washington, you're playing with a free year. Essentially, you get to see what Howe's really about. You move on from some pieces like Chase Young, Montez Sweat, and you sort of can draft a few other guys looking to free agency too.
Yeah.
I think it's a free year for them, and that's a good thing. They're not expected to win. See what you have. Collect some wins here and there, but go forth after this year. Not great for some guys like McLaurin, Jonathan Allen, who've been there forever, and all they do is lose, lose, lose. But
yeah,
it just is what it is with this team. They're just not very good.
Yeah, it's and the thing is, they sold both. Like, I get it; they want to look forward to next year. I mean, I'll tell you what, Eric Bieniemy, I feel like is kind of finding his flow with this offense a little bit.
Yes, he's done a good job.
No doubt. Playing.
Yeah,
but
they gotta be careful too, because I think, assuming he continues with this year, I think they just need to see him call plays for a year, and he's looked good doing that. He's made Sam Howell does something pretty decent enough, at least.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
if I'm a Commanders fan and we're going into next year's draft, I mean, I'm sure I believe they have like a top 15 pick right now.
Yeah,
but we're at the halfway point. If I'm a Commanders fan, I feel like I want to ride with Sam Howell and try to build around.
At least for another year, sure.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
But I think that's just about it. We'll get into the Seahawks game later. You got anything else you want to say about these Washington Commanders?
I don't think so. They have they have the last place schedule this year in the NFC East because they finished last year?
Yes, they do. So they've had the easiest schedule out of the NFC.
It's certainly as reflective from what I've seen.
They got to play the Bears and they lost to the Bears. They got to play the Broncos.
Right, exactly. So schedule's definitely a product of some of this. Can't schedule, so you can't be mad at it, but it does tell you a little bit here and there about the opportunities that they've had. And that's throughout the entire 17 weeks. So it's not like they have 3 easy games. It's like some of these games that they get are really nice, but if you don't have the team like they want to right now, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I agree. And then also, I do want to say, everybody said this is the Bill Belichick rule because Josh Harris wants a big signing. So they said if the Commanders won, I think maybe Josh Harris is going to go after Bill Belichick. But let's be real. Dude, do you want I don't want Bill Belichick right now. He's not doing anything. Obviously, dude, this Patriots roster, especially with some injuries, Jalen Reagor saw the field significantly. DeMario Douglas, 5 for 55, great, but this roster is just.
Yeah, I think coaching wise, Belichick is still there. I think his job as a GM, which he's obviously had since New England has won all the Super Bowls. I think as a GM, the last few years he's just been awful at
terrible
at everything. The coaching has kept him relevant, where they're still able to play with some teams. But
he'll probably get Josh McDaniels back.
Good for them,
dude. Oh my god.
Who else do they have? They have Bill O'Brien too. Oh my god,
Bill O'Brien is back. Yes.
Can you imagine those three?
Oh man.
Yeah, they need to give up the GM to somebody else. He's just it's tough too. It's just a tough,
He's done so much. It's almost like you've done so much for us.
Right.
Like we might as well we can suffer a little bit, but
And they've also
um,
been so not to talk too much about, but like
yeah.
they've also been so lucky with like guys over the years, like Matthew Slater being the perfect special teams player for a decade.
Hmm.
Other guys too being like
Julian
elite in their
Edelman drafting him as what a quarterback or a wide
yeah.
receiver playing quarterback ends up being one of the best. You know, he loved. That's their problem right now. They don't have a small slot white receiver. That's like every great Patriots team. They had Wes Welker, they had Julian Edelman,
That's
Danny
right.
Amendola.
Yeah.
Now they have
Need to
no,
bring
they don't
him.
have it. They don't have it.
Yeah.
Get Hunter Renfro. I'm surprised they didn't go after Hunter Renfro. But if Josh McDaniels comes back, I heard Hunter Renfro did not really like Josh McDaniels.
It doesn't sound like anybody like Josh McDaniels,
No,
which could be a
but
perfect lead into game number
good.
2.
Yes. So, oh man. Like I said, where to begin? The New York. Well, let's begin with this because I'm gonna need it. Oh yeah. The New York Football Giants go to Las Vegas to lose to the Raiders 30-6. A Raiders team that fired their head coach and their offensive coordinator and their GM on Tuesday
Mm.
and elevated former Giant great, 2-time Super Bowl winner Antonio Pierce, who
Yes.
half the reason
Oh,
why
he
he
got
has.
both. He got both Super Bowls. So I thought he was just the '07 team.
Oh, I thought he
No,
was
no,
both.
no. You might be right. I just only thought of him with '07.
But and one of the reasons why he got the head coaching job is because of
Yes.
the open discussion that Josh McDaniels had, where players and coaches were stepping in, talking about what they need to do to change the team. Antonio Pierce said, "We need to have the right mindset and mentality, like the 2007 Giants, where we thought we could beat anybody, even the undefeated Patriots, and we did." And Josh McDaniels, obviously a little sucker from that Patriots tree, said, "Don't talk about the Patriots like that." And then Mark Davis was like, "Honestly, that's a loser mentality. Get the heck out of here, Josh McDaniels. Nobody likes you. You're fat. You're ugly. You're stupid." And Antonio Pierce has a winning mentality, and he showed it because he turned this Raiders team. This is the most points they scored all year against the Giants
Wow.
defense that I thought was going to be, uh, yeah, by
I
far
thought
the
they'd be
most they've
good. I
scored all
picked them
year.
up in fantasy this week, and
Yeah, the most
it
points
didn't.
the
It didn't
Raiders have
work.
scored this year was 21 against the
Okay.
Patriots. Against the
Okay.
Patriots. So, yeah, and we lit up 30.
Yes.
Against Aiden O'Connell, who was a preseason hero, and then in his first start looked like garbage. To be honest, if you look at the stats, like if you look at the player stats, you look at the Raiders wide receivers, and you look at
Mm-hmm.
Aiden O'Connell, aside from Josh Jacobs, like it looks pretty similar. Like it looks like this game would have a very similar score, but that was not the case.
Two similarly really bad backup quarterbacks playing.
Yes, I mean I actually kind of like Aiden O'Connell. I'm not gonna lie.
It kind of sucks.
I mean he's the preseason is a little different. Trust me, Tommy DeVito looked a little better in the preseason too. Obviously that was not the case. Although I'll tell you what, they let. I don't know. I feel like I skipped some very important stuff. Daniel Jones may never play another snap at quarterback for the New York Giants. That's how
Right.
a lot of people are viewing this. And he's played his worst football ever with the Giants this season. So it's not
Yes.
like it's like, oh, he tears his ACL, but we gave him the big contract. He deserved it last year.
Right.
He didn't look good at all this year. He had a second half against a terrible Arizona Cardinals team that Deshaun Watson just looked great in this week. Daniel Jones also, like, I get excited. We have Andrew Thomas. So everybody, this is like another huge point, which I don't even know what it even means because the season is lost. But everybody wanted to know what the offensive lineup would look like with Andrew Thomas and John Michael Schmitz back and Evan Neal. They're back. It was Andrew Thomas, Justin Pugh left guard,
Mm-hmm.
which is he's always been playing left guard. Like he's played a little bit of tackle. Obviously, he was playing tackle for us. So he's back at left guard. They got John Michael Schmitz there, and Ben Bredesen is still the better guard over Mark Lewinsky,
Yep.
even though he's been playing better. And then Evan
Mhm.
Neal, who's still atrocious and trust me, bad. And
But
it
that so
sucks
that was
because
the line. That was the line who played against the Raiders yesterday.
that is the line that played against the Raiders. This is how we have
Okay.
Justin Pugh. So everybody wanted to see where Justin Pugh would land. Would we try to kick Evan Neal into guard? Which I mean, I get it. Like, keep trying him at tackle. He just came back from a right ankle sprain, and now he has a left ankle sprain. So,
Yeah.
like, as much as I don't want to see him out there because he's been awful, this season's lost. We need to see what he can be at tackle if he can get anything. Excuse me. But also, like I've been saying, I want to see him at guard because we have the 4th pick in the draft right now. Daniel Jones is out for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy DeVito and Matt Barkley are our quarterbacks, and it sounds like Tommy DeVito might start the entire year. I mean, we'll see because I know that these receivers want to get these wide receivers are playing for contracts. Our team is playing for contracts. Like,
Yeah.
even though I would love to tank, I mean, even Brian Dable came out and said, I mean, Tyrod Taylor is on IR, so he's at least out for 3 more weeks. So we at least have
Mm-hmm.
3 more weeks right now projected with Tommy DeVito. But Brian Dable also said we don't know if Tyrod's going to be back the whole year. And I mean, honestly,
Yeah, I wouldn't bank on him returning anytime soon.
mm-mm.
It's yeah.
So,
I think moving Neal to guard is interesting. I think you could
he
definitely
played there
do
his
it.
first year in college, correct?
I think so a little
I
bit.
know he
But he's
played at
always
least one season well at guard in college.
the only issue is you're not going to have it with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is a tall guy.
Mm,
You don't really want your guards to be as tall as Neal because you can't see over them. It's one thing if
yeah,
it's the tackles. Danny DeVito's 6'2". It might be tough to see over the line. I remember when the Eagles had Michael Vick and our offensive line was great, but it was massive. And he couldn't see over it, so he kept on spiking the ball into the back of their helmets. I'm not saying
yeah,
this is necessarily going to happen. When you have a guy like 6'7", Evan Neal, it's just tough to move to guard because of the quarterback situation. It's doable. You can try it out. I think
yeah,
it would really be doable with Daniel Jones because of his height. But
yeah.
yeah,
But honestly, also moving forward, I don't know. I just talked with my brother for about an hour about because let's be like, I'm looking for the draft. Like I said, I'm looking towards April 25th. Like, this sucks. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? And I will take full accountability, and a lot of Giants fans should as well. Like,
yes,
we all believed in Daniel Jones. We all wanted him to get signed. He got us our
yeah,
first playoff win in since 2016. The last time Fat Randy was our kicker, who's back, Fat Randy Bullock, who also missed a kick for the Giants to beat the Titans last year, week 1. So I think
I
Brian
remember
Dable
that.
owed him a little bit.
Mhm.
But it's I'm looking forward. Like, I right now we have the 4th overall pick.
Yes.
Arizona, I believe, has the 1st pick, but Kyler Murray is starting next week,
Mm-hmm.
and Kyler Murray's going to play, and I guarantee Kyler Murray's not going to lose out the rest of the season. The Giants
Health wise,
will
you can't
probably
either.
lose out the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Dude, Tommy DeVito as our
Oh,
quarterback.
I know.
I mean, yeah. Do we play a bad Patriots team? Yes.
You've
Do we play a Saints team that I feel like is very beatable, even with a Tommy DeVito?
right. Yeah.
Yes. But
You played Dallas one more
and we
time.
play the Commanders again, who
You
we
play the
have
Eagles
owned.
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of losing. I agree. Listen, the Saints
And the
are bad.
Packers. Like, the Packers are beatable too. But with Tommy DeVito, dude, do I want to see competitive losses? Yes. And I've never been one for tanking, but dude, we've had all of the bad hands.
Oh, tank
dealt to
if
us
you
today.
can.
Yeah, tank.
I've
Tank.
been
Tank.
fortunate. I've been fortunate not to see many bad Eagles teams. The few seasons that have been spread out where they're really bad, tank. It doesn't mean it makes no sense to be, oh, let's get to 6-11 instead of 3-14.
Yeah, dude.
Be as bad as you can. It doesn't make sense to win a few games.
I want to be competitive. Like, dude, I said, this is the most checked out I have been ever. Like, and the thing is, Daniel Jones was in there, and before he got hurt,
yeah,
he did not he overthrew Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm. He's been bad when he's healthy this year, no doubt.
And then he threw it like I'm glad early on we targeted Jalen Hyatt twice deep, which was awesome. I loved seeing
Mm-hmm.
that. I love seeing that. Just be aggressive. We suck. I want to see some explosion.
Take the top off the
Yeah,
defense.
and take the top off the defense too to open up stuff for Wandale. Like that's and Jalen Hyatt caught a nice deep ball. It wasn't a nice throw by Daniel Jones. It was a freaking floater. He threw a duck.
Mm.
He's not Danny Dimes. He was Danny Donald Duck throwing a freaking duck, dude. I just like it looked like a punt coming out of it. And Jalen Hyatt
Yeah.
caught it, dude. When he was draped in coverage, just caught it out of bounds. And the other one was just an overthrow. I was like, I remember being like, Jalen Hyatt's fast, dude, but you still have to,
Right.
time the ball, Like Daniel, he didn't look ready. And this is a debate that some in the Giants community are having. Like, did we rush it back with a neck? He played a little bit uneasy, and he ended up tearing his
Yeah.
ACL. I mean, he sacked
He's
himself around Lawrence Cager, which is, I think, when the ACL happened, and then he played the next
Mhm.
play, and then he sacked himself. He just sat down, like he knew it was a non-contact. I was like,
right.
that's ACL. That's ACL.
Yeah, he's certainly been beat even before the ACL on yesterday. He's been beaten up a lot this year, and so much so where he has sat more games than I thought he would have, which is not a knock on him. It's just how serious he's been hurt.
Yeah,
It's a it's a throwaway year for him. It's a throwaway year for the Giants.
but
Um,
I hope.
but yeah, I
Continue. I
don't know.
apologize.
I don't know where you go with him because like if I'm the Giants, I'm thinking, wow, maybe we just like what's the term got like it was like a genie in the bottle with Daniel Jones last year. That's the best you're going to get. Now he's beaten up. I
He
don't trust
doesn't
his,
look good. His everything
I
that
don't
they were
trust
talking
his
about in the
accuracy going
offseason
forward. Yeah,
has not been there. And I don't know if it's because we just got walloped by the Cowboys week 1 and then that I mean, dude, he had actually one of the most legendary halves ever against the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona
mm,
Cardinals, but yes, his confidence was there. Daniel Jones right now, and I was one of the ones I thought he was going to have a Pro Bowl season, like just have where everybody respects him. Now the debate is he worse than Mac Jones? Who's the worst Jones in the NFL? And I used to be like, well, I'd still take Daniel
right.
over Mac, which I would have said, dude. But and maybe when he comes back from his ACL, but I don't even think he's going to be starting next
That
season. I
opt
think,
out is looking really nice right now for the Giants. I'll say that.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. So he signed a 4-year contract.
Yes.
I believe we could eat a bunch of dead money after the second year, but really we're there's no dead money if we opt out the third year. But like I said, right now we have the 4th pick, and it looks like we might end up with a top 2, maybe the 1st overall, plus trading Leonard Williams, which I know that we discussed this before. Getting a 2nd and a 5th,
Yes,
great, especially seeing what
it's
happened
great.
with Chase and Montez.
Who were afterwards too. It's
Yeah.
great value, absolutely.
So having that second, I don't know if you've been paying attention. You probably aren't scouting the college quarterbacks because you have, an MVP candidate. But
I've seen a few. I know Caleb Williams is a big name. He's kind of looking a little shaky right now. But maybe if you're the Giants, maybe you don't necessarily look for your future quarterback yet. You trade the
yeah,
pick back, you get some more value, or you take a nice player where you are. Maybe in
yeah.
free agency, you get someone serviceable who's been a starter.
I just don't think that's the option. I don't think that we're gonna
Yeah,
sign.
it's
If anything, we'll either re-sign Tyrod, which I don't think we're gonna do because of the injuries. I'd rather re-sign somebody or sign somebody to be a backup like Gardner Minshew, at least because we know that we're gonna probably have to go in next season. And that's the thing. I'm already talking about next season.
but if
This
you're going
season's
in
done.
right, but if you're going in with Tyrod Taylor next year as your starter, that's not good either.
No. And Xavier McKinney said after the game, him as a captain, there was nothing he could do or say, and nothing that any of the captains could do or say to get the Giants to buy in. It was just for some reason, I think losing Daniel Jones, trading Leonard Williams, maybe, which
Yeah.
also we haven't mentioned this, but Joe Shane actually asked Leonard Williams, hey, we don't want to trade you, but this is what we got. So if
Right.
you want to be traded, we'll trade you. He's like, you know what?
Right.
I'll I'll take
Yeah,
the
that
trade,
was
which
nice.
was very awesome as a GM. Like
Yeah.
I'm still like, there's people who are saying fire Dable, get rid of Shane. No, dude. Like Dable was the coach of the year last year. He's had the worst hand dealt to him this year. And Joe Shane has actually made some decent moves, aside from maybe this Tommy DeVito move, which might have him been playing chess instead of checkers, knowing if we're down to a third quarterback, let it be Tommy DeVito. Let's tank.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really opposed to it at this point. You know,
Yeah, here's some free agents for next year. Kirk Cousins, although we don't know his health and we don't know what the contract would look like, so let's say he's out.
I would definitely, yeah. There's no way we
Tannehill,
can
Ryan
draft for
Tannehill,
them.
awful. Jacoby
No.
Brissett, decent.
If we're gonna run with Daniel and wait for him to get healthy, Jacoby Brissett, I feel like is the
Right.
perfect. Yeah.
Tyrod,
Yes.
Mariota,
No.
Sam Darnold, Jameis
Mm.
Winston. That's interesting.
That's fun.
Right.
I would love
Right.
Jameis in New York, to be
He
honest.
will. Yeah. So those, I think, between Brissett, Winston,
Mm-hmm.
maybe Baker. I don't know. Baker's not.
Dude, especially after he bashed Daniel Jones, and I kind of like Baker too. Don't get me wrong. I
Right.
really liked in that draft where we got Saquon. I said if we draft a quarterback, I would take Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
That's
There are some.
well,
So
I wish I took Lamar, dude. Honestly, man.
yeah. So there are some
Good.
options, no doubt.
Yeah.
A few that to bridge the gap between
I
next
mean,
year, or week one next year, whenever Jones comes back, if he comes back.
I don't think we're having lower than the 4th pick at this point. Like that's where we are, and I honestly don't see us. I really as a Giants fan. Like I think that we can beat the Patriots. I think we can beat the Commanders. I think that we can pull out a win against the Saints. But that's we can. I don't have faith in it. I'm not putting
Right.
money on that. I think with Tommy
And
DeVito as a
because they're
quarterback,
such bad
2
teams.
interceptions. I'll tell you what though, they did when Tommy DeVito went in. They let him pass. His first, I think, 4 plays were passes.
Yeah, they had to.
Which honestly,
15 for 20,
he's probably a little nervous. Maybe give Saquon 1 rush, so he doesn't have to try to get 10 yards.
I didn't see. I looked at the stats. I didn't see
Yeah.
much of DeVito yesterday.
That's fair. I wouldn't have watched that game at all if I were
15,
you.
15 for 20, 170 yards. I assume there were a good bit of those were checkdowns, but you would
But
have
I mean, well, think about
to,
it. Actually,
you would have to confirm on that.
so yes, there was a little bit, but I mean, he averaged 11, almost, yeah, I think it's 11 and a half yards per completion.
Yeah.
So he actually was getting the ball down the field. I think Daniel Jones' yards per completion this season was some atrocious 5 or 6 yards per completion. His was more checkdowns. But if you look at everything, to be honest, he had a couple good throws to Darius Slayton for some chunk yards, which Daniel Jones did too before he got hurt. Wan'Dale had that nice wide open touchdown, and then we failed in the 2-point conversion. Isaiah Hodgins dropped I think it was a 4th down. We were trying to convert a 4th down. Isaiah Hodgins, no receptions. Everybody loved him coming into the season because he had that beautiful, romantic, storybook 100-yard game for his first 100-yard game in the playoffs against the Vikings. But he's just kind of, fallen to the weight. If I'm the Giants next year, I would keep him as a depth piece, but he's not somebody
Right.
I mean, he's already not in the starting lineup anymore. It's Wan'Dale, Hyatt, and Slayton. And Daniel Bellinger had a decent game too. I liked him. He's not going to give you that production. He's more of that checkdown stuff. And then Saquon Barkley had his best game of the season, 90 yards and 16 carries, and he was running the ball well. Every time he ran the ball, I felt good about it. Not that I felt good about really anything in this game, but I was just okay. I obviously, tank, yes, tank. Do I want to get a higher draft pick? I know that Tommy DeVito is not going to win us shit. But I want to see our players, especially our developing players. Jalen Hyatt was getting open. We couldn't get the ball to him. And I know that's frustrating, for him, who's our biggest, I would say, our biggest wide receiver contribution from like last year's team to this year's team, and at this point in the season, dude, I mean, hell, if we're losing by, I think we were down by 24 or whatever, like just try to chuck it to Jalen as much as you can, dude. Get him happy, like get him
Yeah.
his pad sheet, like it or pad his stat sheet, his status pad sheet.
Yeah, DeVito's still throwing the football, so it's I don't know.
That's
Yeah,
the thing too. It's like
it's just hard
if
to
you,
work with what you have right now.
how do you feel? Would you rather put in Matt Barkley, who's like probably a little bit more competent, but it's still like you're not excited to put in Matt Barkley, you know? Or do you just kind of just roll with DeVito, develop him? I mean, he was an undrafted free agent by us.
I
Like
don't think there's much development with DeVito.
I mean,
To be
what are
perfectly
you
honest.
developing to be? Like another third string backup? You
Yeah,
know, like
you're developing him to be maybe a competent enough player where you're not afraid to throw the ball. You're not afraid for him to throw the ball consistently,
yeah.
which I don't know, not much to say. At least Barkley has a protege, the USC, the failure that he has been in the NFL. But I don't know.
I think we should probably wrap this up after like just an atrocious Giants game. But I do have some notes. No sacks again by the Giants. Our defense that like I started in both my fantasy leagues. You said you picked them up.
I do.
Um, I think we both said that there's no way they're going to score 20. They score 30. Obviously, the 2 interceptions by Tommy DeVito did not help. But yeah, no sacks. I know. I mean, hey, I did see some good play by Dexter Lawrence. I mean, in the stat sheet, it's not going to really show up.
Yeah,
Bobby Okereke had some nice tackles for loss. I saw Micah McFadden have a nice tackle for loss. And the Raiders receivers, I mean, didn't really do much. I mean, their leading receiver was Trey Tucker with that huge chunk play with 52 yards with 2 receptions. But Devontae Adams was shut down. Jacoby Myers was shut down. Hunter Renfrow was shut down. So, like, that's the thing. Like, if you look at the stat sheet, like obviously Josh Jacobs had almost 100 yards, 2 touchdowns,
yeah.
and Jacoby Myers had a 20-yard touchdown run essentially. But you would think that this would be a much closer game. Like our
I
defense,
think so. I think that it still shows, like, even the stats show
yeah,
that Vegas was able to move the ball consistently throughout the game. And they eventually got to 30 and settled for some field goals too, it looks like. But
yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that's also the result of some of those interceptions. You know,
no
it's like
doubt.
our
That'll
defense
do it. Yeah.
hasn't played amazing. Obvious, like didn't play as good as they have been, but they didn't have as bad of a performance as it shows. And Max Crosby had 3 sacks. Trevor Morgan had a sack. Tyree Wilson had a sack. I remember that. Tyree Wilson, who hasn't really done much since being drafted in
Yeah.
the league. One of the top, it was what, like a top 8 pick? I think it was pick 8,
Yeah, it
I
was like
believe.
6 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, might have been higher than that. But yeah, our O line with what should have been on paper our best line, it's still. I mean, we still gave up 5.5 sacks, 6 sacks.
Yeah, Crosby will do that to you. He's
I mean, Max Crosby's one of the he's the
that is
defensive player of the year
between him and
candidate.
Adams, that is a lot
Yeah,
of talent to have on your team to be as bad as the Raiders are. So,
agreed.
but Crosby, yeah, he'll do those. He'll get to the quarterback. So you guys aren't different from anyone else who's played in that regard.
And one more thing too. I mean, just to give some Giants fans, like I'm looking at the draft too. I don't know. Do we get Marvin Harrison if he falls to us? I don't know. Or would you rather have a court like is Caleb Williams? He hasn't shown like he's been that dominant. Trevor Lawrence was shaky. Like honestly, I like Michael Penix the most. Like I like his big arm. Like watching him against USC this weekend. But like I
Yeah,
haven't really gone that much. But like from what I've seen, I've watched Michael Penix play I think 3 times this year. Watched
mhm.
Drake May once. Watched Caleb Williams once. I didn't like Drake May. That was his first game against. I know he's getting all this hype. Like he's like the lock in number 2 quarterback.
I don't like UNC guys. Yeah,
I mean Sam Howell. Like he kind of has. I feel like similar traits to
right.
Sam Howell. I feel like
That
Michael
makes
Penix has a huge arm that's pretty
yeah.
accurate too. And he's
You can
kind of got that
move.
size. I like Michael. Michael Penix a
I
lot
just
too.
don't like as a lefty myself. I'm just not a fan of lefty quarterbacks. I don't know
Mhm.
why. It's probably unfair to a lot of them. We just haven't seen much success when it comes to the lefty quarterback and whatnot. So
And this is a stupid thing because we have to get to this Eagles Cowboys, but
yes,
I did hear that like the receivers for Washington, they have like the jugs machine firing like a lefty would be throwing it.
yes,
Yeah, and they have
makes
literally
sense.
two first round wide receivers too on that team.
Yeah, well, that's
Like
what New
Roma
England.
Dunze is great, and
Yeah,
what's whatever Taft or what? I don't. I this is. This isn't a Giants pod. This isn't a college podcast, but honestly,
all right.
moving forward, I'm going to be looking at a lot more college to bring up during the Giants segments, especially for them
With
to pull
the
this off.
with the lefty jugs machine, which is interesting.
Yeah, like I don't even know how you do that.
New England used to just solely use lefty punters because when a lefty punts, it spins the other way, and it's a lot different than catching a regular righty punt.
Ah,
So yeah, they were always trying to get a leg up on that stuff. But anyway, another team tried to get a leg up, the Dallas Cowboys. They did not.
all right, let's get into it. The Dallas Cowboys go to Lincoln Financial and lose to
Yes,
the Cowboys in a very close one,
very
23 to
close.
28, with the Eagles winning. And I will let you take the floor, Jeremy.
Well, it's a great game. Two very good teams in Philadelphia. Yeah, I thought the Eagles. I always view these games. The Eagles. It's you win ugly against a team like Dallas. It's okay because you just have to win. They go up 28-17, 10 the third quarter. I'm feeling great. And then it kind of got interesting. The Eagles actually
Mm-hmm.
got some stops around the red zone, the goal line. They had three and outs in the fourth quarter, which made the game close. I think Brian Johnson wanted to kill the clock, which makes sense, but you have to mix it up a little more. You got to throw the ball a little more, especially with Jalen Hurts, who I think was on a roll in this game. Dallas played well. They came back. But as we've known, as we've seen, Sean, Dak Prescott is not clutch, and he will just pull the inevitable and blow a game. The Dallas Cowboys had the ball, 27 seconds left on the Eagles' 6 yard line, 1st and 5. They did not win, down 5.
Yes.
It was a false start. They go back to the 11. Dak just takes a brutal sack, which took them back to the 22 with the clock going. Instead of spiking it, he calls a play and throws it into the end zone, kills another 6 seconds.
Yeah. This is when I turned off the Giants Raiders game and
Yeah.
put this game on. So I
After
watched the
that,
last two Dallas tries,
he takes
which
it. He takes a delay game, pushing it back to the 27,
mhm,
and then he throws it in front of the end zone for CeeDee Lamb, who caught it, who had a great game. But a
a
lot of the
great
yards
game.
were underneath, so it was kind of controlled in some ways, but not really.
Yeah.
And they threw the ball in front of the end zone, and he was tackled at like the 4 yard line. And he actually fumbled, and the Eagles recovered it. I don't want that turnover because it doesn't make sense for the Eagles. It's not like a real turnover, so I don't want their numbers to be inflated because of something like that. But they played well. Jalen looked great. Um,
Dak looked great too.
he
Yes, I think his
did
two worst drives were the last two drives of the game, based on what I saw in the highlights, based on what I watched. I mean, this is probably the best Dak Prescott game he's had all season.
probably ev-
But it also, it's when it mattered is when he. I let's be fair. His offensive line, specifically Terrence Steele,
Steele's
I think
bad.
Steele played awful. He let up those back-to-back Brandon Graham sacks, and I'm pretty sure in the next drive he was the one who let up the Josh Sweat sack.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was bad. I think I will say, I don't know if it's in Steele's defense or whatever. If you're Dak, you can't take a sack there. It's just an
no,
excuse.
no, no.
It's
When
I'll
you're
say that
marching
about
down the
any quarter.
field,
I'll say that about Jalen Hurts. I'll say that about Brady, Mahomes. You can't take a sack there.
Tommy DeVito,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, DeVito too. Although he would sling it for a touchdown in that situation.
For
But
sure.
yeah, Dak played well. It's weird because Dak always is. He's always Tom Brady against us. It's so wild. He always has great games. Um, he was good. I think, yeah, at the end he just collapsed and it was great. The Eagles survived. And the Eagles played well. I wish they didn't take their foot. I think they're a team that gets kind of confused when they're up 28-17 and they're up big early on, late enough in the game, but still too early to be too
Yeah.
comfortable going to the fourth. And they're just like they don't have the running backs really to run out the clock. It seems like because
Yeah, what's going on with that dude? That was
Swift is
by
too
far the
small.
worst DeAndre Swift performance of the season.
Yeah, I don't blame Swift. I think he's just too small. Gainwell's a backup. He's smaller. And then
Yeah, I mean he's
probably
only 5'9" though. I actually looked it up because he's just like a little muscle hamster, dude. He's 5'9",
that.
DeAndre Swift, but he's
Yeah.
got that muscle mass. But dude,
Right.
those two fumbles, one of them he runs into
Yeah.
AJ Brown, who's a unit, and,
Oh my
and
god.
knocks
I
it
thought he
out.
was gonna knock him out. Give Tyler I would give Tyler Steen a game ball for jumping on that football. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
That
good for
was
him, man. That might be his best play of the year, huh?
Roll Tide, it definitely was. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're again fortunate team. They fumbled 3 times. They were able to jump on every fumble, so that's what makes a difference. I think with Jalen's been great the
That's
last
just good
month.
team awareness too, though.
No doubt.
Like there's some teams that
It's some luck too,
they're
because
focusing on their own. They're not paying attention. They're focusing on their assignment, and they
no
don't see
doubt,
when the ball goes
no
out. So
doubt, some
hey,
luck too. To be perfectly honest, just with the way the
yeah,
ball bounces and whatnot, but Jalen looked great when he doesn't turn the ball over. This team wins easily. I think that's
Mhm.
what it usually if though they should win regardless. It's just a matter of this team not shooting themselves in the foot and making mistakes and turning the ball over. That's what it comes down to with them, I think.
yeah. Was this the first time Rashad Penny got any snaps all season? Oh no.
No,
He had
he played
this is the second
against
game he's played all
New
season.
England, yes,
No, against the Vikings.
against the Vikings, like I said.
Yeah, yes. Wait, did you say? I
No,
have
no,
no
no, no.
idea.
I said New England.
That's fine. I mean, dude. I mean, who really cares?
Yeah,
It's just kind of
Eagles.
funny that like I said, full disclosure, I watched some highlights. I didn't see
Mhm.
any Rashad Penny highlights, and I watched it in the game. Did he
Yeah.
come in after those DeAndre Swift fumbles? Where they feel like,
No,
okay, you know what, we'll
he
give you a shot,
started.
or was he just kind
He
of,
jumped in. I think he started the first half and he started the second half. They used him as a kickoff return guy. He actually made a smart move and put his foot. The one time to open up the second half, Dallas kicks it out of bounds, so the Eagles get it at the 40.
mm-hmm.
But he like put his foot on the sideline before, so just to make sure that it would go out of bounds. So that was nice to see. But yeah, they need like a Kareem Hunt or I don't I wish he were still a free agent. I wish they got someone like him. But
Yeah,
they're on a bye now. Rest up. They need it. Goddard will be on IR with a broken forearm, which
yeah.
isn't great.
And what you guys lost both cornerbacks in that last drive?
Yes, we have old man syndrome at our cornerback position right now between Slay and
Yeah.
Bradbury, and I think they'll be fine. But they needed a few breathers. It looked like
Well, it's
so
good that you guys are going into the bye, so
very
that's
helpful,
huge. Yeah,
very
especially because
helpful.
I mean, dude, Jalen Hurts looked hurt. Like that, I remember
He
watching
played on
that
one
play where
leg,
he limped off.
and then the first series in the second half, it's like a 3.5 minute try for a touch. It's beautiful. It's like at that moment you're like strap in. They're getting a dub, and the
Yeah.
defense played a lot better in the second half. I thought Dak was pretty poor in the third quarter too, which helped. And they have in Dallas. They have not been able to run the football with Pollard, who I still think is a decent back, but I don't know. I'm not seeing the same stuff that we did with them last year with the run game. So
I agree. I feel like he kind of benefited from being like the spelling back to Ezekiel Elliott, even though he was
maybe
probably still their lead back last year.
right,
But I mean,
right.
he averaged 4.2, but like he just it's not the same. Like he was so explosive, and I feel like now he's just kind of being used as just like a normal, but not being used. He's producing just like an average back.
Yeah, 4.2, decent on 12 carries. I don't know.
I mean,
Nothing too alarming. But
yeah,
It's a game of inches too, and the Eagles held them. That guy, what's his name? Shoemaker catches the ball on
Yes.
the end zone, but his knees out, and the ball's at like. But you remember the
He
Blankenship?
has one catch for 0 yards, and that was it.
Remember the catch? Remember Blankenship when he put his arm down and McLaurin stepped on it?
Yes. Yes.
Blankenship is everywhere he's supposed. I've never seen someone who's literally on top of every play of the. It's been nice to have, but
Dude, that is awesome, honestly. Good for Blankenship, man.
yeah, he's been good. He had a bad what was it? He had a bad game against Washington last week in Washington until the interception. So he's been nice, but yeah, it's weird with the offense was great, and then they kind of like tried to kill clock and weren't able to. But you come out with a win against Dallas, you rest up a little bit, and then you're off to Kansas City for after the bye. So it's a good win. AJ Brown looked good. His streak is snapped of 125 receiving yards.
Yeah,
Devontae
that's
had a
tough,
great
dude.
catch
I think that
as
was
well.
both of our prediction.
Yeah, Devontae had a great game as well, and it was nice to see Jalen take off a few times. Didn't run much,
I
but got
mean,
a few
that
first
injured
downs with his
knee,
feet.
right?
Right,
Yeah.
but he got a few first downs with his feet, which just helps, especially one on 3rd and 3 to open up this first half or the second half, and they score a touchdown a few plays later on a gorgeous throw and catch by Devontae Smith. So it's a good win. It took, I feel like a cat, and it took like 4 years off my life.
Yeah.
But
I mean, dude, like the Cowboys played well. Like, let's give them the
yeah,
roses too.
they played
I mean,
well. I think that it was. I think the Eagles really dominated the first 3 quarters,
mhm.
and the Cowboys didn't go away, and the Eagles kind of let them back in the game. I'm glad they buckled down at the end, but Dallas played well, no doubt. I think that they're too good right now to be content with a game like that. Like moral
Yeah.
victories, I find that preposterous. If you guys want to be the second best team in the NFC, which you might well be,
I
honestly.
think they are right now still,
Yeah,
even at
I
five
think
and
so
three.
too. I think
Like,
so too.
I would say maybe the Lions are the other. And like, I love the Lions. I think they're playing amazing.
I'd take Dallas over them right now.
But like, remember
Yeah,
the Giants were 6-2 at this point last
no
year.
doubt. And that's
Like,
the
yeah,
thing.
I
It's
mean,
like,
like,
so Dallas, yeah,
there's more to than just the record.
they played well. I think, but I think for them, it's like you played well, but there's no moral victories. You went in there to get a win into Philadelphia. You needed the win, and ultimately you weren't able to come through. So, um, yeah, it was a great NFC East battle, no doubt.
Yeah,
I think I'm interested in looking into the ratings with that game because I think that they were quite high, but we'll see.
yeah. I'll tell you what, dude. How many like trailers have the Dallas Cowboy logo in their toilets that are tailgating at
Oh
that
my
game?
God,
Because
there was
I saw a few.
I
I
was
saw
down there.
some from my friends,
Yes,
like ex Temple people posting it, and then I also
yes,
saw it was I think on the NFL page too. Um, yeah, I mean, hey, dude, like I get it, dude. Like piss on the Cowboys. But speaking of pissing on the Cowboys, we can't piss on them too much. Like that was a close game. It
it
came
was.
down to
I
the
think.
last drive, and and the Eagles defense like played it as well as they could.
Yeah.
Um, like they did march down the field. Like where did that? Like I feel like Dallas was in the red zone, were they not? On
What
that
the last
last
drive?
the last drive, yeah,
They were at the 6.
yeah, yeah.
They were
Let's go.
they were they were they were right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I mean it's great. I think in all seriousness, though, for the Eagles is a testament to how strong. I look at both teams and I think the Eagles just are much better, basically everywhere, more or less, than the Cowboys. I think that's where something like this comes from when you're in that situation and the defense has been pushed around a bit, and then to end the game they hold exceedingly strong like that. I think it says something about the team.
yeah. I do too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I said, Dak Prescott almost 400 yards, which I mean, let's be real. Let's talk about your defensive backs. 2 weeks in a row, You're
We're
almost
gonna,
getting 400 passing yards put on you.
yeah.
I mean, like Sam Howell had 397, Dak Prescott has 374, 3 touchdowns. I believe Sam Howell did he have 4 touchdowns last week? It's 3 or 4.
Yeah, one of those, one of the others.
But I mean, CD Lamb had 191 receiving yards. Like I don't
Yeah,
even care what you say. He's averaged 17.4. I don't care if he's getting this like dinking dunks and running after the catch. I mean, like that's just honestly
so he
good
had,
play calling for once.
yeah, it's kind of nice because like it's hard for me to bounce the Eagles because they didn't get beat over the top, which I think is the reason they won. They
Mm-hmm.
gave a lot to CeeDee Lamb underneath, but if he's not getting in the end zone, I think that's a win. I know that's a win. If he's not breaking up your safeties and getting behind them, that's a win. It's odd. It's really hard to judge this defense here or there because like Dak's a good player, CD's a very good player. They're going to get something. You'd hope that Dak wouldn't be over 300 or much over 300. You're hoping CD wouldn't be over 100 or much over that. But, I think it says something that
Almost 200 though, and yeah, and Jake Ferguson getting 91 too. But
he had some. I think that it says a lot, though, that you really gave up all that to CD Lamb and they still lost. Is that the recipe? Is that exactly the recipe the Eagles were looking at to win? No, but I think it's very weird with them. Like they gave up 155 to Justin Jefferson and beat Minnesota comfortably in week 2. I think they're willing to die with giving up
bend don't break is
bend don't
essentially.
break a little bit of that and also just giving up a lot of stuff down low and making sure that they don't punish you over the top, which would ultimately be 7 points essentially. So
Yeah,
it's not great. It's not a fun way to live, and they should make some adjustments. In a lot of ways, it works in the final score, I think. But
yeah. I'll tell you what. I mean, like the Cowboys got creative. Like Schoonmaker almost had the touchdown.
yes,
Cavante Turpin, he had a nice touchdown. I think that was his first receiving touchdown in his career.
had to have been. He had a good kickoff return too.
Yeah, 50 yards.
Jake
To be
Elliott
honest, I did not watch that one. So you can
Jake Elliott had
get
to
it.
make a tackle. I said, Jake, get it. I don't. Well, you can't get hurt doing that. But I think another play. They cut the lead to 5, 28-23. They go for
Yep.
2.
Mm-hmm.
Dak steps out. Oh my god, it's just who he is. He's so
That's what
scary.
I'm saying too. Like you said, they got down to the 6 yard line. If he doesn't
Yeah.
step out for the 2-point conversion, that's. I mean,
No,
we're
now it's
talking
field
very
goal.
differently
It's
about
a different
this.
game. Yeah, it happens for a reason. And before the Shoemaker play, he helicoptered. It got
Yeah.
like I don't know if you saw the play. It's like you lower your shoulder. Like I don't get like why you wouldn't lower your shoulder and try to get in that way for the 2 point conversion. He can't outrun Brandon Graham. And he tried to do a huge banana peel, which he didn't. I don't think had to do. And of course, because of that, he stepped out of bounds. Oh, I don't know. He's a good enough player here and there, but he's not clutch. He's not smart enough. He's not talented enough. I love that Dallas keeps on running him out there. I don't know if they'll ever figure something out with someone else, but
I
uh,
mean, dude, like Dak Press, like he almost had 400 yards. He had a good
yeah, but
game.
it's not. But
Situationally, like you said, if you look at the stat sheet again, this is another game where you think, if you look just at the stat sheet, and not the touchdowns, you think Dallas dominated this game.
yeah, but
But
I
that's the
guess,
thing.
but
Like,
like
it's not like that. There's game plan. This isn't a fantasy football game. This is a
right, exactly. They were also
yeah.
down 11 going into the fourth quarter too. He's just someone who like he's making $40 million a year or a little more. I'm not sure. He doesn't win clutch games. He's never clutch. This is what he does. This is who he is. It's not enough for him to be in the situation to have all these years under his belt, to have all the money he's made, to be as good as he's supposed to be, and to lose every game like this every time. I don't know. I could be hard on him. I'm trying to help Cowboys fans, but I just it's something about Dak where he chokes, he blows it, and people want to say he didn't choke. You have the ball at the 6 yard line, 27 seconds left, down 5, and you don't score a touchdown. that's a choke. So
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm like going all in on the butt, you know.
Yeah, I mean, hey, dude, listen. Dak Prescott has been playing good enough. There's been these clutch points where he obviously did not deliver. But I mean, you can't. Who are you moving on from for? Kirk Cousins? No. Like,
Oh, find
and it's
someone.
crazy.
Yeah, like
It's like, is Trey Lance coming back? Like, the only way that Dak Prescott loses his job, I think at this point, especially with the love that he has from Dallas, like, there's no Cowboys fan I know that doesn't want Dak to be their quarterback either. Like, everybody's believing in Dak.
I
The
think
only way he loses his job is if he gets injured and somebody comes in, maybe Trey Lance, probably not.
yeah, I doubt
Plays
that.
really well, and they move on from
I think some Cowboys fans are turning on Dak. I think they're realizing who he is. Just not anywhere close to good enough. Yeah, the stats he's compared to other guys who are starting okay, but we've just seen this year after year with him, and I think I'm trying to read some forums, some Cowboys forums, see what they're saying on social media, and I think it sounds like some of them now are just like sick of like this repeated act. I don't know. Maybe I'm more critical than others, but I think it seems like some people are actually turning on him down there. We'll see
Yeah.
what that
And
goes to.
well, Micah Parsons definitely is not, because he said at the end of the game he played best. A few swears in there, but he's the best player that played today. He has his back. Micah Parsons had
Okay.
a sack and a half, but I mean,
Awesome.
I don't know, man. To be honest, dude, like, I get every player has a podcast right now. We have a podcast right now.
Right.
But
What happened?
I find Micah Parsons so annoying, dude. Like,
He's so annoying.
I find him so annoying. He's still like, what, 23, and he just
Yeah.
talk like, hey,
These
I
guys
mean,
just talk so much.
he's in the NFL. He's one of the best to play. Like,
He's good.
kind of borderline. Like, everybody keeps saying, is he like the next Lawrence Taylor? Is he in that era? I don't know. I just good for him. Great player. Wish we drafted him. But yeah, he's annoying as hell. It's like any player that's on one of your rival teams that's like super outward and super
Yes.
you hate that. Like,
Yes.
you hate that guy.
Absolutely.
So I mean, sorry, you're just like, I actually don't want to hate that Dak that much. I think that he's a very well composed guy.
Yeah, I
But
mean, you hear the stuff about Dak with his battle with depression, what happened with his mom, what happened with his brother recently.
yeah,
Um, and like you feel for the guy there. He seems like a decent person, although entering the league, I think he was a little immature with the stuff that he would do with Zeke Elliott. He had his moments, but yeah, he seems like a decent guy. It's just it's a business. It's about winning, and I think that I don't know if I've
you gotta win. You gotta. No, it's
yeah,
true.
so
I think the
and,
honeymoon
and they
stage of Dak Prescott coming in as like what, the 5th round pick and leading them to like the best record in the NFC
yeah.
and in that
But
postseason run he had with Ezekiel Elliott, but like, that's over now, man.
it's
It's over.
they lose in brutal every time they lose in the playoffs. It's a brutal way. It's because he slides in the middle of the field. They don't get a playoff
Mm-hmm.
or something. It's always something with him. But
Yeah, just it's just you gotta finish. You gotta finish. We'll see though. We'll see, because like if I'm a Cowboys fan, I don't feel that, like, I obviously would feel defeated. You lost the
oh, I agree with that. It's not. Yeah, you're not
in a game that was so close, but like they have an argument to say they still might be the best team in the NFC. I mean, they have it. It's there.
They might be the best team in the NFC.
If you're a Cowboys fan, you can defend it. You can defend it.
Are the?
I mean, you guys lost to
Are
the
the Eagles
Jets.
in the AFC?
They lost to the Cardinals. I'm just saying they have an argument. I mean, they are 2 games back.
Week 1, I think. Okay, 2.5 actually. They're 2.5 back.
I know it's 2.5, but yeah, it's, listen. Am I a Cowboys fan? No, but we're covering the NFCs here, and the Giants are miserable. So I will say, for Cowboys fans, you have a chance. Like obviously you have a chance. Like you have the second best record in the NFC. Um, so or third best, yeah, because the Lions only have two.
Right, tech, yeah.
Yeah, but hey, still,
Although Dallas
um,
probably has played a tougher schedule. I don't know. Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway,
it's
yeah.
let's move on to Week 10 though. Are you ready?
Yes.
Is there anything else? I mean, this is your game. Any closing thoughts here?
No, no, no. I don't think anything else. No.
Um, I will just say, I mean, sacks were had by multiple Eagles, which is good to see, especially
Yeah,
against the Cowboys, who supposedly have one of the best O lines. But Terrence Steele was
they
just
came in. They came in clutch at the end. I thought this was the one game just to add quickly where the
yeah,
pressure from the Eagles' defensive line throughout the entire game was awful. And that's not how I felt. I've said before there have been a lot of games where they haven't had the number in sacks, but at least the pressure was there and it made it
yeah,
impact enough. The timely sacks at the end by the ageless Brandon Graham and Sweat got in there too, and Jalen Carter I think got a half sack too.
yeah.
But and that ultimately probably was the difference. So it won. But let's get to the quarterback earlier. Let's get some pressure too, at the very least. So yeah,
No, I feel, especially with your secondary kind of struggling, which
no
also
doubt,
probably contributed to that lack of pressure.
no
Um,
doubt. Don't have much in the middle of the field for the Eagles either, with the
yeah,
linebackers honestly either.
yeah. Um, but yeah, let's get into Week 10.
Mm-hmm.
We have some good games. You want to start with the Cowboys Giants, or you want to do Commanders Seahawks?
I do Washington, Seattle. We'll leave the Giants.
Yeah, we'll save a little cliffhanger here for some nice divisional preview. So Week 10, only three NFC teams. Obviously, the Eagles have to bye. We're starting off with the Washington Commanders going to Seattle for the 3:25 game, which is also when the Giants are playing the Cowboys. Seattle obviously just had an awful loss to the Ravens that was honestly unwatchable, 37-3. After beating a tough Browns defense, which also had PJ Walker. Was that PJ? Yeah, it was PJ Walker. Yeah. 24
Yes.
So it's like they can produce against good defenses. So
Mhm.
I honestly don't know what happened here. That the Browns game was in Seattle, which I think, like, if anybody has a home field advantage, I think it's Seattle. Seattle and like the Eagles as well, but I mean the
Yes.
12th man, the Legion of Boom, they're loud in Seattle, and the Washington Commanders are going there.
Travel
Um,
sucks too. We've said it before. East Coast teams
yeah,
going to the West Coast just sucks.
yeah. I mean, the Seahawks' strengths here, like their offense, even though they only put up 3 points against the Ravens, which is one of the better defenses.
Mm.
Um, they have one of the best passing attacks. They have three premier receivers, even though Jackson Smith and Jigba hasn't really emerged, but like he was the first wide receiver taken in this draft. Everybody
They have
said
options.
they have Tyler Lockett, who's always a 1,000-yard receiver, always sneaky, and then DK Metcalf, who's just like physical and can take over a game when he wants to.
Yes.
He's kind of been battling with injuries, but I feel like he'll be coming in full force for this game. And then the Seahawks can beat you on the ground. They have Kenneth Walker, who was amazing, almost rookie of the year last year, even though he missed the first portion of the season. And then Zach Charbonnet, who's another early pick who hasn't really emerged, but like can still beat you on the ground. Commanders, like I said, have been playing well. With Sam Howell has been able to get the ball off, but he's struggled with sacks. The Seahawks just got my boy Leonard Williams, who I'll be rooting for. And they don't really have the best edge rushers, but they can get to the quarterback. And their defensive backs are pretty solid. Devin Witherspoon, their first-round pick, has been playing great. Reek Woolen led the NFL in interceptions last year. Also great. Jamal Adams is still there. And Quandre Diggs. Like they have, and Bobby Wagner is still there. Like their defense is great on all levels. It's not like, yeah. So
very productive. Definitely enough for sure.
Yeah.
In an NFL where you just need a good enough defense to ultimately win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, especially with an offense that can be great. Geno Smith hasn't had as good of a year as he had last year, but
No doubt.
I think if there's a game where he's going to prove that people wrote him off and he wrote back or didn't write back, whatever he did with his pen
Yeah.
pal, I think this is a game where he can be very productive. So I'm just going to hop right into the score prediction here.
Yes.
I'm going to go Seahawks. I think that the Seahawks try to get right back at home. I'm going to go Seahawks 31, Commanders 21.
I'm going to go Seattle. I have a similar take. I think
Yeah.
that this is going to be a get right game for Seattle. And they're going to score 5 touchdowns to prove it. And they're going to win 35-17.
35-17, okay.
3-score game. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that Sam Howell will continue to have a good game. Like, continue to be productive. I wouldn't doubt if we see an interception here. Like, they have a lot of people capable of taking away the football, especially with dumb mistakes. Like, Reek Willen's going to be all over the place. Like, they have enough defensive backs to shut down McLaurin and to shut down Dotson. And, like, Brian Robinson, who I loved and still love, he hasn't been like he's not a superstar running back either. No,
he doesn't. Yeah, I think I agree. I wish he would, as a Roll Tide guy, I wish he were a little better. But I also think there's a reason why he was drafted late in the draft, around that, because he's Brian Robinson ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a hard-nosed runner. He gets those yards. He finds the end zone. But, like, he doesn't have anything special about him. He's just – I feel like he's a north-to-south runner.
Right.
Yeah.
Bold prediction, Howell throws at least 2 interceptions, but he's also going to throw over 239.5 yards. So
is that what it's at, or did you just guess that?
No, I'm just guessing. That's just I think with that kind of prediction, you see that the offense is there. They just turn it over ultimately, and that's why they don't get more points at the end.
My bold prediction is that Jahan Dotson goes for another 75. I would say 75. I think with this season kind of being a wash, they sold Chase, they sold Montez.
Mm-hmm.
I think with seeing Jahan Dotson being more productive the past 2 games, I think they're going to keep trying to push it to Jahan. Try to establish that relationship going forward, as so he can be kind of like a 1A, 1B type of receiver with McLaurin. So I will say that, and I think Sam Howell against it, I just feel like they're going to throw it, and I think that Seattle's offense is going to eat on this Washington secondary.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they're going to be passing the ball a lot. So I see Sam Howell going for 300 yards again. I feel like he's going to have like a 40 attempt game again, 40 attempts at least.
Yeah, I think we're on the same line with that. I have around the 340 passing yards. Yeah.
Oh, you said 340.
Over 339.5.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I thought you said 240 at first. I was like, yeah, I mean, that's fair. All right, but I like that. Now let's get on to America's game of the week. The New York Football Giants go to Dallas to
I would really love the Giants
get some revenge.
In Dallas. I would be very happy.
You know, I would also be very happy. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Do I have any hope going into this game? No. Honestly, this is probably like the least excited I've been going into a Giants week in a long time.
This game could be worse than week 1.
No, I don't think. The thing is, like, I really don't think so. Like,
right.
I will tell you. I mean, dude, 40-0. Like, that was just miserable.
True.
I'll tell you what. Our defense was playing good. They let up 30 points, but like it was relatively conservative with the 2 interceptions where they were in the field. You know, I want to see the Giants like come together. Like I know that the playoff hopes are pretty much dead, but I don't want to see this like this
pretty
team
much.
Looked like they all gave up. like against the Raiders, against a terrible team. We have hatred toward the Cowboys. We got physical.
Yes.
We literally got in like multiple altercations week 1. I don't think that's going to change this week. I think the Cowboys are going to be talking a lot of shit, which honestly, I mean, we deserve most of the shit that you're talking. But I don't know, man. I think that we're going to try to unleash. Like, Brian Dable is not giving up, obviously. It's
Right.
like, yes, we're tanking. We have Tommy DeVito. I think Tommy DeVito is going to throw 2 more interceptions. I bet you Deron Bland gets another pick 6 too. That's a bold prediction. But I think we will fight. I don't think it'll be as much of a waste case as it was against the Raiders, because I think that like the Giants players take pride, like you've seen against the Eagles, like with the Commanders twice this year and the Cowboys once. Like, you take pride in these divisional games. You see them twice a year. Like,
Right.
I want to see the Giants fight. I want to see Tommy DeVito throw for 2 touchdowns. I don't care if he throws 2 interceptions. I don't care if one of those interceptions is his 3rd touchdown to Deron Bland. I would say this. Bold prediction, Deron Bland's going to have an interception. I already said it 3 times, and I hate saying that. But also, I'm rooting for next year, so I'm okay. I think Saquon's going to have another great game. I think he has over 120 yards from scrimmage, because I think that we're going to need to rely on him, with Tommy DeVito. I guarantee Micah Parsons has 2 sacks. And on the flip side, though, I want to see the Giants defense get those, like, we went, I think, our first 6 games without having any turnovers, and then we kind of blew up. I want to see some more turnovers. I want to see Kayvon just like, listen, man, you had this big game. You were defended by Carl Banks. You proved it, and then yesterday against the Raiders, you were nothing. We're playing the Cowboys. You have something to play for. People are going to be watching this game. I want Cowboys fans who are going to be watching this game. I don't want them to be able to be like, well, the Giants are so. I want people to be saying, you know what, your season's over this year, but Kayvon's looking good. Oh, Tommy DeVito's definitely not it, but hey, he hit Jalen Hyatt a couple times down the field. I mean, that's all you can really ask for here.
Yeah, I don't know where to go with this game, to be honest. I think bold prediction maybe. Jalen Hyatt's targeted 4 times down the field, like really down the field, and he'll get 2 catches out of that.
Maybe for 95 yards?
Yeah, maybe. Well, that's a lot. Let's go north of 59.5. 4 targets down the field, 2 Hyatt. We'll catch 2. We'll have over 59.5 yards off of that.
Kind of like what he's been when he produces this year. It's a little higher. I feel like it's usually been averaging 25 yards per reception, but yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'll give him 5 yards more than his average.
I mean, hey, give Dallas a bold prediction. I mean, Dallas is here too. I mean, say it, dude. I'm looking for Michael Penix, bro.
Dallas has Dallas is going to have 4 offensive touchdowns and at least 1 defensive touchdown,
which would put them at like 35 points.
That's at least, assuming no field goals and assuming, yeah.
So you're giving them another 40 burger, huh?
Yeah, but the Giants are going to score a little bit this time.
You know what? I'm going to say the Giants defense is actually going to play a lot better. I want to see CeeDee Lamb not give up almost 200 yards like the Eagles did.
Yes.
I want to see. This is my honest prediction. I think it's going to be probably 27-14. I think it's going to be closer than expected. I don't even know what the spread is, but have you looked or no?
No, that's a good question though.
Do you want to look it up? I'm going to guess the spread's like 14.5 at least.
14.5? In the
Dude.
NFL? Well, yeah.
Yeah, the Giants already had that huge spread against
I
what was
know,
it?
I know. That's true.
The Niners, or was it the Bills? It was. Oh man, dude, it's Tommy DeVito versus a
Yeah.
relatively healthy Cowboys team. I mean, they only really
Oh,
lost
okay.
Traylon
So
Diggs,
what's
Kevin
your
Smith.
guess?
15 and a half.
It is 15.5.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
All right. I did not look at it, just to be honest.
That is
Missed.
wild. It opened
Yeah.
up at 15.5. It looks like it's still there, I believe.
Yeah. I mean,
Big number. Big
yeah. Wait, what was my score? 17 or 14 to 27? That
cover.
would, yeah, I'd cover
Great
the
team.
spread. But I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm not betting the Giants. I'm not betting the Giants plus 15 and a half. They haven't shown
Yeah.
me anything to believe that.
I
I honestly, I reluctantly bet the Giants plus 6.5 against the Raiders because I was like, you know what, we might lose, but we should at least be close. Nope.
I'm
Nope.
surprised
Nope.
that
Nope.
was. Yeah. I don't know.
It wasn't at 6.5. I bought
They
points.
get. They get. They get you did.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure it was 1.5.
And 3 points for that being okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Dallas is going to cover. They're going to win 38-14.
All right. Okay, at least we're consistent with the Giants getting 2 scores.
I
That'd be nice.
want the
It'd be nice to watch 2 scores, dude.
I want the Giants to win. Let me tell you.
It's been a while. I mean, dude, like 2 scores has been. Let's see how many times.
Well, that's what I'm saying too. Like 2
1,
touchdowns with this team could
2. We've had 3 games where we scored 2 touchdowns so far.
Make this a 4th.
I mean, yeah, we're the worst offense in the league. I mean, they're moving us to 32nd in all of the rankings.
Right.
Like, I don't even care to look because, like, it's just what I thought would be and what we are now. Man, we're already halfway through the season, which is crazy. I feel like
it was wild.
But
of course, the Eagles also have a bye this week, so that's why we're not doing anything with them on predictions.
Yes.
They can rest up, get healthy, and
yeah, because you guys do have a gauntlet though coming back. I believe it's Chiefs, Niners, Bills.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Seahawks are sprinkled in there. Not that
Dallas again.
Yeah. So
although
you guys have a gauntlet.
Bills look a little sus.
They do look a little sus.
5-4,
which kind of sucks because like we almost beat the Bills and like it's like I mean who really cares because the Patriots beat them too. So
unreal.
The better Jones won that one.
Yes.
But hey, we are the beast of the NFC East. If you made it this far, thank you. Like and subscribe. We have listen, if you're a Giants fan and you think you gave up on the season, don't worry. I'm gonna be looking at draft stuff. I'm gonna be analyzing prospects. I'm gonna be looking into stuff, and I will have some stuff for you guys while we're talking about Tommy DeVito's 5 touchdown win next week against the Cowboys. So if you're a Giants fan, stay around. I mean, like I know. As a Giants fan myself, I don't really want to talk about Saquon Barkley almost getting 100 rushing yards. Like, whoop-de-doo. So.
Giants fans, I will speak as well for you. It really doesn't matter who you draft. You could have Tom Brady in your prime. He will look like Tim Tebow in the NFL. It doesn't matter. It might be that gaudy blue color. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't think this is fair. I'll tell you what, dude. But I don't know. That's another conversation to be had. Is like, do we go the quarterback route? Do we move on? Does Joe Shane get his quarterback with Brian Dable moving forward?
That's the most interesting question I think out there. For they obviously inherited Daniel Jones, which worked out last year. It looks like it's broken now. Do they go after
his ACL is broken and his confidence looks broken? And
no doubt. Do they go after a guy who would be their product, their mold, their quote unquote quarterback? It's
and a deep quarterback draft and us having a very high pick. We have some options.
Yeah.
But anyways, we will see you next week for week 10. As always, thank you so much. I am Sean Gnitzcavich with the very lucky Jeremy Goode who gets to root for the Eagles.
Thank you. Thank you all.
See you next week.
Thank you. Go Giants. Let's get a win, Giants. Let's get a
Go
win,
Giants.
Giants.
Giants. Yeah, let's get a win. Please. I mean, honestly, no, I don't really. But I do, because I want the Cowboys to lose. Anyways, we'll see you next week after the Giants beat the Cowboys. Yeah. All right. Peace.